Discussion on Re-Strategize Indian Infrastructure Growth and Preparedness. We have two very eminent speakers over here, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Singh, General Manager, PF and SSBU, State Bank of India, and Mr. Shurjan Mukherjee, Vice President, Sales and Marketing, JSW Cement. With this, I would request first Mr. Sanjay Kumar Singh to kindly share your thought with us, sir.
Sure. So, good morning. It's good afternoon, everybody, and namaskar. Thanks for inviting me to this forum. Just a brief introduction of mine is already there. So, I'm Sanjay Singh. I'm presently acting as a general. Yeah. Somebody's mic is please mute the mic if you're not speaking. So just a brief about myself, I'm Sanjay Singh. I'm working as a general manager at the State Bank of India Project Finance and Corporate Center. Basically, Project Finance looks after generally for the infrastructure projects. And we assess the proposals from the whole country at the corporate level, which falls within a certain parliament. So briefly, I will deal with, what is the scenario and what's way forward. Also discussing in between some few key sectors and what is the, right now our risk perception on that. So to begin with, India's march toward the large target USD 5 trillion economy by 2030 has been abruptly slowed down by COVID-19 pandemic. The current pandemic has brought to the forefront the fundamental question of how the country solves the catastrophic risk of such an extraordinary and unpredictable black swan event. India needs a sustainable strategy to avert and mitigate such pandemics, and the response to India's problem partly lies in elevating the public and private spend in infrastructure sector through PPP mode. So basically, India's investment in infrastructure for last few years, the World Bank Growth Report 2000 find that fast-growing countries in Asia in their fast-growing phase have spent around 7 to 8% of their GDP on infrastructure. Using this, our inspirational benchmark for infrastructure framework, we find that India has spent around 7.2% of GDP on infrastructure in the 11th five-year plan, which further come down to 5.8% in the 12th plan period and has been estimated around 5% of GDP in last 2 years. The reasons for this slowdown in the infrastructure investment partly has been because of a twin balance sheet problem, meaning that both the company's balance sheet and also the lender's balance sheet has been stressed to some extent. Issues in land acquisition, environment and forest clearance, aggressive bidding by the private sector, etc. But even after this slowdown, India continues to implement one of the largest infrastructure program in the world with an estimated infrastructure investment of around $140 billion in FY19 and occupies the second position in the developing world, both by the number of PPP projects as well as the associated investment. ADB in its report meeting Asia's infrastructure need has highlighted that a whopping USD 4.36 trillion is required to resolve India's infrastructure demand by 2030. And that would entail deployment from both the private and the public coffers. But the reality is that both the public and private sectors are coming to grip with the economic situation which had just begun its journey towards stabilization. Unprecedented situation like this present one require unprecedented solutions, and this time it is right for the government to head back to the drawing board to put in place a progressive plan for the PPs to start a new DNA. Now, as far as impact of the COVID concerned, that definitely it has slowed down to, I mean, in April, May, June, it has, I mean, the whole entire activity, economic activity has slowed down to a great extent. And that has impacted infrastructure also to large extent. Passenger traffic on roads, railways, air was under lockdown. And in the power sector, there was a major demand slowdown, about 28% less than the business as usual, with most industrial and commercial activity locked up. On the supply side, supply chains and construction labor force were dislocated because of this pandemic. Now, government has, I mean, tried to push, basically to push the economy and by pushing the infra investment. Private sector participation will only be relevant if the government steps in the increase public expenditure. To bolster investor confidence, including the private equity players, a robust pipeline of bankable projects is required. And the first step has been made by government's NIPs has already been taken. Now NIP needs to be supported by revolutionary funding models, financial products, and resolved to both the public and private sector. The government has developed NIP for the first time to provide social and economic infrastructure projects across the country from 2019 to 25. Volume 1, 2 of NIP task force has already been released to public, and Volume 3 is likely to contain details of upcoming projects, elaborated and with private participation, with a total investment of INR 101 lakh crores in the period up to 25. In the past 6 years, around 51 lakh crores were invested in infrastructure projects, which are now being doubled with the NIP, which is a commendable task. As per estimates in the NIP task force report, about 80% of the required investment would come from the center and the state government, and these would constrain given the state of our public finance and the higher priority demand of the pandemic. The more recent infrastructure numbers are encouraging and suggest that barring the onset of second COVID wave, the worst is behind us. Power consumption, freight traffic by railways, fuel consumption, GST collections are around 90% of the corresponding months last year. So basically, just some few green shoots which we are seeing. If I mean, we divide into pre-COVID and post-COVID, just prior to COVID-19 pandemic it started, there was a few big infrastructure projects, successful awarding of NHI toll of TOT Bundle 3 to Singapore-based Tube Highway, award of Jewar Airport, a greenfield project to the Swiss airport operator, successful award of electricity distribution license in Odisha's 5 circles of to Tata Power. After COVID, some of the new, noteworthy transactions, we find that Adani Green Energy has backed the world's largest solar tender to construct 8 gigawatt photovoltaic power plant and set up 2 gigawatt solar cell and module manufacturing facility, a total investment of around $6 billion. IRB Infrastructure achieved financial closure of Mumbai-Pune Expressway in a major brownfield assets monetization initiative at the state level for a total consideration of around more than 8,000 crores. Spanish Solar Pack Corporation won the bid for at rupees 2.36 unit for 300 megawatt of solar power in Seki. That tender was in June. This was followed by NTPC and Al Jamaya's bid for, that's a very challenging bid at 1.99 per unit in December 2020, taking the per unit cost to the new low. The most noteworthy transaction was raising of around 152,057 crores by Reliance. It's on the public domain. Whether it will come under infrastructure by Reliance by selling their just third of their stake in RIL in Geo platform. So thus the total value of these transactions are around 2.5 lakh crores. Now coming back to the SBI's performance, we have been at our project finance. We have been supporting during this COVID time, and we also see a lot of traction going on as far as the infrastructure development is concerned. For us, during the whole, up to December, we have sanctioned around 30,000 odd crores to the infrastructure sector, covering around 20 odd projects, mainly spread over roads, energy, renewable energy, thermal was not there, and some port and other developments. So basically, what I mean to say, at SBI, we are seeing that the market is coming up, infrastructure developments are going to, I mean, uh, we are just trying to forget the past and build up our pace. As far as sector-wise concerns, so I will just dwell few sectors which I have with me. So basically, one of the major sector for infrastructure being the construction. So out of this, in the construction activity infrastructure sector, is almost for our case, it's 56% of the construction spend is expected uh, in the infrastructure sector. Over the next 5 years, the spending is expected. I mean, sorry, it's a general my risk perception. Infrastructure sector, which forms almost 56% of the construction spend, is expected to witness around 8 to 10% dip in spending in the current fiscal year. However, over the next 5 years, the spending is expected to grow around 4% CAGR. Within infrastructure sector, road sector is better placed, followed by railway and urban infrastructure. Industrial capex that forms around about 5% of the construction expense is impacted by low capacity utilization in the system as demand environment has deteriorated following the pandemic. Uh, EPC projects which were already delayed prior to pandemic are, I mean, greatly affected because of the timeliness, which extends significantly, resulting in severe working capital issue. Such projects we are monitoring closely, and with respect to their progress, cost overruns, and etc. Given the uncertain environment, the adequacy of other sources of EPC firms like manpower, availability, critical machinery, and equipment supplies, etc., are being which impact the timelines of the project is being monitored by us. As far as various policy initiative for the infrastructure construction section, I will just deliberate on few. Announcement under Atmanirbhar Bharat, like collateral-free credit to MSME, taxation relief for sale of residential units up to rupees 2 crore, additional outlay of rupees 18,000 crore for urban housing, credit guarantee scheme of 26 stress sectors, equity support of rupees 6,000 crore for NIR. So these has impact is that MS COVID-19 crisis government initiative has provided some support to demand in real estate, which has impacted building the construction sector. Government approved continuation and revamp scheme for financial support to PPP in infrastructure with a total of outlay of around 8,100 crores. So as far as our outlook on the various sectors in coming medium term, I would say most of the sectors we general monitor around 38 sectors at our end, 38 industry. So out of that, our view is mostly 19 in case of, in case of 19, that is 50% of the sectors that we monitor is at neutral, and few sectors we are thinking that it will be, our view is positive, very positive, moderately, and in few industries, out of 38, I think around 6 or 7 we are moderately negative, which basically pertains to consumer durables and other areas. Probably we may be wrong on that because of, basically as the sentiments are going up. So that's to sum up. We think that the pandemic is behind us, and there will be a good growth in coming years in the infrastructure in coming 4 to 5 years timeline. Thank you. So that's my summation.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. And as you have discussed that you have seen that already we have seen the bad phases and we have kind of overcome it, and with a very positive note and mood from Mr. Singh, we can expect that definitely India infrastructure finance can move into the right direction during the next normal days. We have a very interesting participation in terms of speakers over here, one from the private sector who are into business, Mr. Mukherjee, and one from a PSU bank. So I'm from the chamber. I was just wondering that what is the kind of do Mr. Mukherjee, do you share the same view? Mr. Singh has ended with a very positive note that yes, we are the bad days are over and we are going ahead with all the positive mood. How do you perceive that infrastructure finance is happening? And before we come into that, Mr. Mukherjee, I just wanted to share one thing to over here, like. What is the kind of expectation of Mr. Singh that when there is a very this infrastructure finances, even in PPP mode, what we have observed, what we have listened from Dr. Ahmed in the morning were there, that these are all risky investments. So
Sure,
I
sure.
I was wondering that in one hand there is a pressure from the central government that this thing has to be done, and maybe I'm at a position to to make a decision on infrastructure finance, and we really don't know whether how the things will move on, and there is no scope for renegotiation as of now in terms of contract. So how do you feel when you get into such kind of a decision factor when you decide about this infrastructure finance? Do you think a kind of a burden in terms of the nation which will be faced in terms of NPA, or your bank may face in terms of NPA? Do you feel that kind of pressure while having a decision on a risky investment like project finances? So this is to Mr. Singh, and I would come to Mr. Mukherjee with a very interesting question that you have started negotiating with a project, and the project has been started, and then due to some reason, due to some financial problem, or due to some other problem, because of the delay, the project is not happening. Even the government has changed and the project is not happening. So there was initial investment and project has been halted. We have seen this kind of examples in number of cases in India. How you strategize your future deals and future business deals with strategic partners? I'll come to that, but before that, if Mr. Singh can answer my question, what is the kind
Yeah.
of
So
pressure that you feel?
see, I mean, the question has already come in the first session also, because
Yeah,
sanctity. It is the first thing is the sanctity of the contract.
right.
So sanctity of the contract. See, I would request someone. I mean, whoever mic is on, please. Yeah, so sanctity of the contract is what is most important for us as a lender in the infrastructure finance. It is only the contract that is against which we are financing. So, I mean, we have found out. I mean, it's available in the public domain also. For example, in renewable energy, the prices which were quoted, the PPP and the concession agreement based on which we had financed, that is being renegotiated. So that becomes a challenge for us. Even yesterday, there was a news that Jharkhand government has backed out of the agreement with the central government regarding the tripartite agreement with the SECI and other. So that creates a problem for us. Yes, we try to definitely look into it, and we have taken this issue regarding sanctity of the contract, concession agreements, also various others. So, for example, in the road projects, we find that the bid has been done, party has won the bid, we have financed that, and the land acquisition remains laggard. So we are taking with the government. We have been taking in the government as a apex financial institution of the country. We have been taking this at various forums. That let's make these things very clear, so that gives the impetus to not only to the lenders, to also the investors, because investors also are also in the dilemma what to do, what not to do. I mean, tomorrow if something happens and if some rates are renegotiated, what you are going to do? I mean, because see, in today's scenario, mostly apart from the individual, private corporate, there are lot of foreign investments are coming, and basically they are working on certain IRR with certain assumption with the sanctity of the project. Sanctity of the contract. So that becomes a challenge. Yes, this is a challenge for which we have already taken. We are taking up at the appropriate forum, at IBA level, at the government level. We have taken it up, so that these things, which hampers the growth in the infrastructure lending. So that can be, minimized to a great extent. I hope that I answer your question.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. And with this, I would request Mr. Mukherjee to share his thought.
Yeah. So first of all, good afternoon
Good afternoon.
to all of you. And what I want to actually state here is that I look after the cement and steel operations for JSW for Eastern India and Northeastern India. And what you said and what Mr. Singh has also just reiterated, I want to confirm that actually the statistics figures are very encouraging the way I see now. The first quarter for the cement industry in East has been a washout, no doubt, of because of the COVID, and the industry degrow by 21% overall. And when I say East, I'm right from Chhattisgarh to Northeast, so I'm talking about on behalf of the industry. But then when we see the second quarter, the things started recovering to a level that last quarter we could recover at least about 15, 20% growth over Q3 last year. So things have been very encouraging on the cement part. And on the steel part also, I see a huge pent demand which has come up. Now, there are two things which we are witnessing post-COVID. One is obviously there's a lot of pent-up rural demand which has come up because of so good monsoon and good agriculture harvesting. So that has resulted in a lot of liquidity, especially in the rural areas, which has also resulted in the demand picking up. And lately also with the new government formations in different states, we see a lot of infrastructure on the ground. Projects are also encouraging. So that is also parallelly we see is going up. And in fact, in April 2020, government has set a target of constructing roads worth 15 lakh crores. So that is a very, very encouraging thing in the next 2 years. Then in June 2020 also, as you see that they have announced that as a part of that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan project, they have also said that in under animal husbandry infrastructure development fund has been created and 15,000 crore has been invested there. So these are impetus which are helping us, and the biggest focus on the infrastructure is on basically on the sustainable development of the country, and on majorly about 1.4 trillion USD has been mentioned between 2019 to 2023, which is a very, very big thing. I can tell you that the bullet train, once it starts on the construction space expected from next month, I think that will also incur a lot of steel demand across the country. So we see a lot of domestic consumption going up because of this infrastructure projects, which is parallelly expected. Then government itself for the development of the Indian railways and including the railways infrastructure is investing about 50 lakh crore on a period from 2018 to 2030. So these are very, very strong fundamentals on the basis of which we expect the demand to continuously grow for both cement and steel, which I generally are representing. And obviously then as you know, under the urban renewal mission, which has been said, the smart city concept, which is coming up, this is also going to result in a lot of investment happening under the smart city thing. And obviously, in the union budget also, it was mentioned 1,25,000 kilometers of road length that for the next 5 years is going to be upgraded. So that is also result in a consumption of both cement and steel to go up, the way I see. Then government is also talking about Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which is a very important yojana which is going on, which is also resulting in a lot of rural demand going up that we could generally see. And this is, in fact, we are talking about close to development of 30 lakhs houses, which is a combination of completion of 18 lakhs, which is already on pipeline, and then also further new 12 lakh houses being constructed across the country. So this is also resulting a lot of both cement demand and parallelly steel demand also. So which is about 25,000 crores. So what we expect is, and what we see is also a sharp turnaround, on the banking of the rural demand because of a great monsoon. And you see this is the first time, especially since I represent coming from the East, I can show you that in East, this is the first. After many years, we have not seen any major floods in any of the major places. That has resulted even in the low-lying areas also good harvesting. So that will result in a lot of pent-up rural demand, lot of liquidity in the rural side, and rural demand is going to further boost along with the infrastructure, both the cement and the steel demand in the this part overall. So that is very positive sign what we generally see. And obviously the quarter results are pretty exciting, and we also expect a similarly 15-20% growth in the cement sector in the coming quarter also, this Q4 of this year. So even though we were at 21% degrowth as a washout in first quarter, but over a period in this financial year we'll end up about close to about 8 to 10% growth over last year in spite of COVID. So that is, I think, a very encouraging signs, which is exciting for us. The question that Mr. Arnob you have put regarding how do you plan or how do you strategize that particular C. So what we did, we tried to generally understand the project, what is the stage of the project, how it is parallel moving, and how much of the requirement will come up. So based on that, we do a planning exercise. And if we see that the project is getting delayed, then as a part of the consumption sector, we try to go more into the channel market. That means majorly we focus onto the rural demands and we help up. So what has boosted is that even though the project got delayed because of the COVID period, new projects starting has got delayed. But actually what has helped us is this rural demand to compensate that loss in the project side. But the old projects which was running, government has invested and those projects are continuing. So that is also we are going to build up. Apart from that, a lot of initiatives in the eastern markets I could see, like in Bihar, many aims are coming up. So a lot of medical infrastructure because of that is coming up. Because of COVID, in a lot of villages we see small medical infrastructure is improving. So there are also a lot of hospitals and small dispensaries coming up, which is also boosting up and picking up the demand of both our products, cement and steel, across the industry. So these are certain things apart from the individual house who is building up. This is also area. The other point I am seeing is that post-COVID, as you know, work from home model has come. So people are going and building houses. So people are shifting to semi-rural areas and building their own house using some connectivity, and mostly are walking 3 or 4 days in a week from the house. So that is one area. The other part also I saw is that when people got locked down and were staying in home, they realized their houses are small. So if they're in a 2-bedroom flat, so then suddenly realize that both the rooms are occupied. So they have gone for they're now searching for 3 bedrooms. And that is also, we see some turnaround, and that is also resulting in some real estate, especially in those 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs bracket. There I'm seeing a lot of housing demand coming up. So G+3, G+4, G+5, that is one area with the 3 BHK flats. That's something we see a demand also parallelly picking up. So these are the two things which has also boosted up demand. And migrant labor has also helped the eastern markets, because when the labor came back, they came back with a lot of money. So they built their own house. So that also resulted in a demand picking up. And some of them have stayed back and being used for a lot of this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana projects. So that are the few things which are also resulting in a demand going up, both of these two products in the eastern markets and in the northeastern markets. So these are so as I said, I think we have lived the past of the COVID trauma, and going forward we can only hope that things will even become stronger. But fundamentals are very strong, and it's a very bright time for the country in sort of projects that we see, which as it turns in shape. As I can understand, domestic consumption, cement on a basis is based on domestic consumption, and it's an economic indicator also. So the way this growth has happened in spite of COVID is very, very positive. Where when I see, but this cement figures I'm mainly talking about from the eastern parts, as I said, from Chhattisgarh to northeast. So I have not considered the other zones of the country. But here what I could see is very clearly this is a very positive side in spite of COVID.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. So basically, we have seen the major thrust that would lead to the growth of cement industry is in these, particularly the eastern and northeastern states, and you're talking about there will be a huge rural demand because of the because of various reasons. One, the migrant laborers have come. Second, in terms of good monsoon, the people will have more liquidity, and so. And apart from that, there is another factor in the urban sector, since there is a work from home kind of an experience during this period, and people are thinking that the space that we used to work is way different from the space where I'm working right now. So it's not as big hall that I used to, chat with my colleagues and all, and it's difficult to even loitering in the veranda and have a smoke. So we need bigger space, we need bigger infrastructure. So that would definitely lead to the. What is your experience in terms of Northeast, if you may kindly share?
See, Northeast cement demand, when I see here, Northeast cement is also on an all-time high. They're consuming close to about 8 to 9 lakhs. You can see at the 20-25% growth there also, all the seven sisters. And so has been the steel demand. But fundamentally, there's a lot of infrastructure projects which are going on, and especially the road infrastructure is going on there. Apart from that, the bridges are there, and obviously all those states which are bordering to the neighboring countries, especially China. So that side, we see a lot of on the ground government infrastructure projects coming up. That is also resulting in a lot of demand. And what is so part is that Northeast has a prolonged monsoon. It starts from April and it eats away into close to August, September. In spite of all these things, the sort of demand that is we saw there is obviously the very, very healthy signs for us. And there also the rural demand, as I said, with all the reasons which I meant forward, obviously migrant labor that has also boosted some demand there also on the consumption sides. And also this time also there was no flood that you see. Assam is always had some flood issues. This time the flood was not there, so that was also going to result in a good harvesting. It's a very fertile land area, so that will also result in a lot of liquidity there. So we expect the demand to continue and a very good Q4. The last quarter we are very bullish of Northeast also, both with the cement and steel.
Another thing is like when you have said that whenever there is a crisis, there is an opportunity over here. Like we have seen the Amphan in our city area has completely ruined various structures in around the city in the Tier 1 and Tier 2 sectors also. So people need to kind of rebuild all those things, and there will be an infrastructure demand in terms of building houses once more, repairing works and all, and that consecutively the demand for cement will grow eventually. As Mr. Mukherjee was sharing the experience of work from home, with that note, I will come to Mr. Singh once again that during the lockdown period and during the new normal days period, you must have been faced a huge kind of a problem in terms of we have seen all the bankers have taken risk and they have come to the office, though small in numbers, so the banks are open. How you have reached towards your clients? I mean, how the technology transfer has happened? Was it very easy for your department to kind of work from home experience? Because we are not typically IT guys who are working. So, what was your experience with that?
See, for us, for my department particularly, I mean, it was very difficult to work, through the work from home. Initially, when the thing started, we were obviously not prepared because we work on our own system, which access is very limited. I mean, it's available at only offices. So initially, we had the teething problem. So we sorted out that giving LAN connections at home through, complete secured network. So that was the one issue what has happened. And as far as client is concerned, I mean, our clients, since we are into the large infrastructure projects, we did not have any issue on interacting with the clients. Yes, I mean, we took some flexible approach on that. Okay, earlier we had certain restrictions that this would be done like this would be done, but that way we could, manage well through our clients. So, and most of the time, 50% we have been managing from our office. So 50% alternate, basically we have got teams. So half of the team alternate day used to come. So there was a continuity process. So as such, we don't think we have been impacted. Yes, there has been impact because see, not only my working, because we are into the credit risk process. So it has to go to my credit committee. Now again, at the FX level, again coming board meetings are through the virtual mode. Everybody. So that was a challenge initial. I think first 2 months was a challenge. April, May, it was virtual shutdown. Probably, I mean, to some extent, proposals were not that way. That was fortunate that we had completed the year end and moved to this new scenario. So, but after May, I think we had geared up completely. I mean, we do not have any issue on that as far as moving on the work from home concern. So, connectivities are available at home with the secured connection linked through the bank. I mean, bank LAN or something, whatever it is. So that way we were comfortable on that.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. I would come to Mr. Mukherjee once again. That what was the kind of initial trouble that you have faced in terms of availability of people, in terms of distribution system, and everything was come to a hold, and then how it you have managed the distributions and everything in terms of availability of people. That is number one. And number two is like, are you also into international trade, like export? And have you considered the neighboring countries for exporting cement? And how do you see the growth of, if so, how do you see your export growth? And what are the challenges over there?
See, on the during the COVID period, obviously in the lockdown stage, the biggest issue is that we are a labor-intensive industry, and so there was a short of labor, which resulted in our operations getting impacted. Initially, we had to shut down the plant for a few days, and then we had to restart it, and especially the packing plant area where we require migrant laborers. So luckily, since we are in the eastern parts of the plant was being able to recover fast, and then finally, for the southern parts of the plant, we have to shift our labor team from the east, and we made special arrangements to move them once the lockdown norms was relaxed, and then we could restart it with mostly with the local and the local area laborers. What I've also parallelly seen that close by villages was also was one of the suppliers started becoming suppliers of migrant laborers. Like we have this plant in Salboni, so we try to use the services of the local villages closer to the plants within 10, 15, 20 kilometers, and so we try to use the vicinity of the plant areas to and give them sort of employment. So they were also, because many of them were also migrant laborers, they came back. So that was also resulted in some sort of running of the plants there. And in terms of the logistics, obviously, yes, what we did was that we made sure that the drivers who were all there, they stayed inside the plant, and we made sure that we were providing them food and shelter, because the drivers and all, they are the logistics partner under transporters. They are drivers, and they are basically supplying to logistics partner for many parallel cement companies close in the close vicinity. And not only with cement, but they will also be dealing with other products. Like they might go take with sand and they will move to one area. That means they will take bricks from Calcutta to Midnapur, and from Midnapur they will take cement and come back. So when this flow stopped because of this brick field started stopping, so they were all in that area wherever we were located. There were trucks parked in the highway. So we made sure that they come to the plant. We have our own canteen opened up, and we took care of them. So that also resulted in some sort of a support of our logistics movement of material. We were the first movers into the market, and then parallelly other companies also started opening up in that vicinity, and obviously impacted as I said, first quarter for the industry has been washed out because of all these issues, not because that it's only because of the COVID and the lockdown issues, and we killed them. In terms of export, as you could see, India has a huge consumption of cement. Overall, India is one of the second largest high consumption of cement here. So obviously, many of our plants, based on the logistics and the geographical locations, do explore export options. Like plant in South will explore options, especially in Sri Lanka, Maldives, Mauritius, that particular. So, but currently, predominantly, it's an internal consumption which is resulting in the cement industry to grow. So as I said, 95 to 96% is all domestic and internal consumption, which is basically resulting in the demand. And the sort of projects which are in pipeline, once it finally gets into the shape, and the demand with time is only going to pick up. So that's a very bullish side. Eastern India is obviously, as you see, that The other source can be Bangladesh, but as we saw, Bangladesh have a lot of cement factories and they take clinkers from us. So one of the raw material, so they do take some raw material support from our plants in cement plants in the northeastern part of the country. Otherwise, they also source clinkers from other Southeast Asian countries. But as such, as I said, domestic consumption is basically the real growth driver for cement industry in the country and more so in East also.
Okay, so we have come to almost at the end of the session. I would like to both of our speakers uh, have expressed their thoughts with quite a positive note that yes, uh, India is moving towards a $5 trillion economy, and there are contributors, there are vanguards like State Bank of India to protect the investors and to ensure that all the project finance will happen smoothly. And with initial challenges of the lockdown period, Mr. Singh has expressed a very positive note that how things have improved over the period of time over during the lockdown phases 1 and 2, and now the next normal days would be much more interesting in terms of there will be huge demand growth as expressed by Mr. Mukherjee, because there will be demand growth from growth of demand from the rural side, because they have done extremely good during the monsoon, and there will be a demand side from the urban side also. And but before we end, we just wanted to share, since it's coming back once again, that we have all experienced that how we have worked from home. So if both of you can share your personal experience in working at your home, what you have learned from there. I would first go to Mr. Singh. You were at your home. You're working for the first time from your home. What was your personal experience like? In one way, the cooking is going on, and what is your one-liner? In one line, how was the experience? What you have learned?
For me, it was seamless. I hope so. I mean, we have been, not regularly on the working from home, but we have been used to that because ours at our level, my systems are integrated to some extent. So even if we are traveling or doing, we work continuously on that. So any approval or anything, we don't have any issue on that. And yes, as far as working from home concerned, more than myself, my family would have been in a difficult situation, because you are sitting on a chair occupying a particular portion, which used to be free to them. So obviously, the space was a constant in a city like Bombay. That was a constant. Otherwise, I did not feel anything. Going back to my juniors, getting queries and other things, we did not had any issue that way. So just a word that I said, seamless. It was seamless for us.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Mr. Mukherjee, your experience in working from home.
It was more spend time with the family, but ending up whole work-life balance totally become jeopardized because Zoom call came into the facts, and because of Zoom call, the calls used to go even in the evenings also. So that was one new angle, because we were not so much exposed to Zoom, and traveling has also come down. Now, obviously, this is going to stay. So that is one side which we see. It's on a that side again on a positive side, because suppose I'm in Calcutta, my head office is in Mumbai. So if I have to go to Mumbai, 2-3 days, 4 days lost. So with the Zoom call, when you're doing, it's basically 1, 2, 3 hours of meeting. So that way the travel time, so you can have a better work-life balance also using the Zoom mode. But on a side, on the lighter side, obviously family wants us to be in the office rather than in the home. I think Mr. Singh is also of the same view.
With this, we would conclude this session. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Singh, General Manager, PF and SSPU, State Bank of India, and of course, Mr. Shujan Mukherjee, Vice President Sales and Marketing, JSW Cement. It had been very interesting to listen to your thoughts about re-strategize Indian infrastructure growth and preparedness. We are really thankful to all the participants who have joined and listening to us, and we are still we are yet to cover other important issues like Indian railway infrastructure is coming in, and regulatory aspect in boost infra finance is coming in. So we have very important panel discussion. We have important sessions. The Deputy Managing Director of IFCL, Mr. Pawan Kumar will be joining with us. Mr. P.R. Jaishankar, the Managing Director of IFCL, will be joining with us, and we have an Indian Railway infrastructure session where Mr. S.K. Lohia, IRC Managing Director and CEO, Indian Railway Station Development Corporation, will be our special guest, and Mr. Harsimran Singh, IRC Chief Project Manager, RVNL, will be there. Mr. Praveen Sharma, CEO India, the BIM engineers will be there. So we are going for a break with this. We are immensely thankful for our gold sponsor, our gold sponsor JSW Cement, our silver sponsors IWAI and IIFCL. With this, we would conclude this session, and we will meet you at all of you at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.